A missing persons report is filed after a 15-year-old Missouri teen fails to show up to school one December morning. An intense investigation is launched, but the exhaustive searches yield little to no clues about the whereabouts of the missing teen. Her socials have gone silent, and her phone has not pinged since her disappearance.
Hold your horses. Did everybody miss what we just reported? Investigators began, after they hit a dead end, interviewing her little friends. The little friends say the teen may have been talking to someone online. Okay, to Tanya Jordan joining me, Chief Parent Officer at BARC Parental Controls, author of Parenting in a Tech World. Now, this is how I found out about BARC, which led me to Tanya. We got BARC and put it on the children's cell phones. It picks up words like scary words, like sex, I want to see you naked, send me nudes, hurt myself. Okay, it's so sensitive, and this is not an ad. It's so sensitive. I got an alert. You have an alert on your son John David's phone. Well, I nearly did a backflip because he never does anything wrong. Knock on wood product. So I looked it up, and it said self-harm on my 6'6", 200-something pound son. Self-harm, you wouldn't expect that, right? I looked at what it was. He's a soccer goalie, and he had made a really good dive. I saw it happen where he's basically horizontal, catching the ball, and his arm went through the net, and he got a big bruise right here. But he was so proud, he showed off the bruise saying, I saved the goal, right? It was so sensitive that it picked up the bruise on his arm and alerted me. The other day, you're gonna laugh about this part, Tanya. I got an alert on John David. It's never Lucy's phone. It's always John David's phone. And I looked it up, and it said disturbing, blah 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 nature. Guess what it was? The Nancy Grace Show, crime stories about some victim having been kidnapped and killed. And he subscribes to our, I guess, YouTube, and he picked up the banner on YouTube. Luckily, he had not opened it. But still, that is how sensitive BARC is. Now, that aside, that's how I found Tanya. Tanya, red flag waving. Listen to this. Investigators speak to her little friends. They say she may have been talking to someone online. Translation, she is talking to someone online, someone she kept secret from her dad. That's what that means. So, online, secret, take it on.
No parent thinks that this will happen to their child, but when you know the rate at which predators are online engaging with children, you can't not think that it could be your child. You have to be prepared. You have to be monitoring. You have to take easy steps, like don't allow connected tech in their bedrooms overnight behind closed doors. If you do give your child tech, make sure it's safer tech that will proactively alert you when creepy older men and sex offenders are trying to engage with your child, which the BARC phone does.
Well, here's the other thing. And again, I'm not pushing BARC. If you don't know exactly what to do, like what do? Go grab their phone and run off with it? That's a physical thing to like jump on them and take their phone away, which I have done. It's not easy. And run away with it, lock yourself in the bathroom and try to scroll through their stuff. Okay, no. Something like a net nanny, like BARC, to me, that's an easy way to do it. So you don't have to scroll through their phone and look for what you don't even know what you're looking for. As a matter of fact, this particular app, Boo, B-O-O, it's a dating friendship app, and it allows completely anonymous trolling, where you look for a friend or a love interest. As a matter of fact, this little girl had signed up for Boo. Listen.
A Columbia, Missouri girl signs up for Boo, a popular dating and friendship app that matches users based on common personality markers like zodiac signs, Enneagram types, and the results of an in-app personality quiz. When she hits it off with another user, the two move to Snapchat and develop a romantic relationship through texts, pictures, videos, and audio messages. After a month of chatting, the teen's online beau desperately wants to meet her in person.
You know what's really interesting about the Boo app, Titania, is it actually looks like a game. I don't know if you remember the Mrs. Pac-Man and Pac-Man games, video games, some of the first ones. These little creatures look like them, like the little Pac-Man creatures. And it looks like, see that right there? It looks like a little game where you, quote, meet new people. It looks so inviting and so harmless, doesn't it, Titania?
It sure does. I'm actually pulling up the App Store now to see what it's rated because there is no governing body that mandates that people who submit their apps to the App Store are accurate, right? It's up to each app maker to rate that. Also, a good thing to know, whether you're using Bark or Apple Screen Time or Google Family Link, you can get alerted to when your child downloads an app. So you can go and look it up. Just like you wouldn't drop them off at an international airport all alone, don't let them encounter everyone in the world and all the content ever created online without you understanding the portal through which they're doing so.
Okay, so now you're telling me I need an app that tells me every time the twins download an app on their phone. Is that what you just said?
If you don't have Bark, you have Bark. So we will alert you when your child has downloaded a problematic app.
Okay, and so listen to this, Karen Stark. Okay, this is going to make Karen Stark and Todd Shipley do a backflip. Okay, try to stay seated. So it connects you with friends online based on a romantic relationship, based on an in-app personality quiz. What sex offender can't lie on that? Okay, zodiac signs, Enneagram types, a quiz, zodiac signs. You know how many times we have covered cases where a registered sex offender, or probably even worse, a sex offender that's not registered, so we don't even know he's lurking, goes on to chat rooms, goes on to apps like Boo, Kick, Snapchat. We saw it in the Delphi double murders of Abby and Libby, two cute little girls in Delphi. And that was a false lead in the case before Richard Allen was identified, where they had been online talking to a catfish, just like the stereotypical creepy dude. But he was posing, he had put a picture on there of some buff young guy that kind of looked like a tattoo-less Justin Bieber, who was a real person. He was using that person's photo to lure little girls and get them to send naked photos or topless photos of themselves, trying to hook up with them. Remember that? Freak? Yeah. So you can put any picture you want online. You can lie in your zodiac quiz and get hooked up with a little girl like this little girl. Zodiac quiz, my rear end.
Nancy, this is really, and I can't emphasize enough, important for parents to know because an app like this, and there are others, it really is a playground for someone who's a predator. They are in heaven because they could mask who they are and they could start the grooming process, which means that they begin to insert themselves into the child's life. They act like they're a friend, a confidant, they understand everything that they're saying, and they become important, especially to a child, a teenager maybe, who's feeling unhappy, alone, and needs to find a friend.
So, what do you make of that, Titania Jordan? The Zodiac quiz that apparently united this little girl with a registered sex offender.
Here's the thing, the Boo app and many other apps are rated 17 plus. It tells you right there in the App Store. But any child can go in and lie about the year they were born and get immediate access. Problem number one. Problem number two, as there are no current laws to hold these companies accountable. The laws meant to protect children online have not been updated since 1998. And so acts like the Kids Online Safety Act that are still stalled and have bipartisan support could actually hold these platforms accountable and prevent children from being harmed, whether it's on Snapchat, Boo, or the next thing that pops up.
And little did this dad, a loving dad, know that about 500 miles away, a registered sex offender was wooing his little girl online.
Columbia, Missouri, a father receives a call from his daughter's high school. His 15-year-old daughter never showed up to class that morning. Calls to the teen's cell go unanswered, and when dad rushes home to check on her, he finds the home empty, his daughter nowhere in sight.
A parent's worst nightmare. You think maybe she overslept, maybe she this, that, the other thing, and you get home and find out none of that is true, and your girl is missing. At the same time, this is what we learn.
In the early morning hours of December 6, 2024, the 44-year-old man the Columbia teen met on Boo drives to Missouri in a rental car and picks her up. Before going anywhere, he breaks her cell phone. The man then drives her 11 hours to a home in Fort Collins, Colorado. To avoid detection, the man wraps the teen in a blanket to carry her inside the house.
So many facts jumping out right there. A 44-year-old registered sex offender who meets the little girl on the Boo, oh my stars, him, meets the little girl on the Boo app, drives all the way from Colorado to Missouri in a rental car. So wait a minute, right there, Greg Morse, in a rental car. He doesn't even take his own vehicle. He has a car, so why does he use a rental car? To hide his movements so it won't show up on his nav system, or so his car won't be identified at toll stops or by license grabbers? Right there, I'm forming intent as we speak, Greg Morse.
Well, a rental car, doesn't prove he sexually battered the girl. It doesn't prove he kidnapped her. It doesn't prove any of those things. People use rental cars all the time. If this was a drug case, I'd say, okay, it's pretty common that people use rental cars to commit drug transactions. At least that's been my experience in 25 years. This is a case where a rental car is just a rental car. It doesn't add any evidence one way or the other to the crimes that this person's charged with. Not at all.
Of course, Greg Morse, you think that proves nothing, that he went to the trouble of using a rental car, I would argue to a jury, to hide evidence of his whereabouts. But it's eerily reminiscent of the case of a young girl, Sophia Martin Franklin, who was, let me just say, romancing a much older man like this guy. In her case, the guy's 40, nearly 41 years old. Take a listen.
Sophia makes a new online friend as she finishes up her sophomore year. Sophia's friend pushes her to meet in person, but there's two big problems. He lives in Arkansas, and he's a 40-year-old man.
Gary Day is 4 years into a 6-year probation sentence and is used to surprise visits from his probation officer, but in December, the 40-year-old seems extremely nervous when the officer stops by. The supervisor also catches a glimpse of a woman running out the back door. She is just 16 years old and from Wisconsin. Sophia's sister spots Day's Buick idling a block down the street. While she calls police, a family member goes to check on Sophia and finds her room empty. The Franklins immediately report Sophia missing.